So I guess let's move on to the next slide. So I guess a little bit of an explanation of the video. As you've seen that Guilfoyle and the other guy had a problem wherein they tried doing the same task, which, if you take a look at it in a practical scenario, it's not really that good because you have duplicate of work. And basically, if you have duplicacy of work, you basically wasted a portion of the time, or in some essence, a resource in the team. So the suggestion that Jared had was to use what's called a SCRUM, which is wherein, going back to the previous slide, is something like this. You have the to-do section, the in progress, the review or testing, and also it's done. So it increases the team visibility by making sure that every single member of the team knows what their purpose at the project. And also the fact that those tasks have certain descriptions that are specific enough so that a member can get started on the task. So usually it works at kind of this. You have a sprint that can last for a maximum of 4 weeks. So here we're doing around 2 weeks. We can't really do daily scrums, but the idea of the daily scrum is so that you have like a short stand-up wherein everybody says what they've done in the previous days, what they're going to do at the remaining time, and also what their blockers. That's the reason why you had those questions whenever we had stand-ups. And then after that, you have this cycle wherein the backlog, or basically your Kanban board, is getting renewed with more tickets to come. Then you're going to have sprint review and the retrospective. We're going to plan to incorporate this in the coming sessions, but I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, but just to be aware, these are like the traditions or ceremonies that a agile team comes into. Next is, so what is Git? So Git is a version control system for coordinating work for different change, and it really has two main parts. You have the change and you have the branch. So going back, if software engineers are working independently for a specific features at a specific task, then that means that if one person puts their change at the code repository, then it should not affect the change that are being brought by another software engineer. So that is where Git comes in, wherein you have different branches. So take a looking at this one. You have your master branch. The master branch is typically a reflection of the code that is deployed at the production system. So something that is, that's working fully. Develop branch is usually the branch wherein things are getting developed. And from the develop branch, you have such thing as what's called a feature branch that is getting branched out from the develop. And when it's ready to go, it either goes to the master branch or the develop branch. So usually a feature branch corresponds to a reference number that is the same as your issue number. So let's get into more details on that one. So you have different versions of the branch. So usually you can show Git in a what's called a Git graph, wherein you have the nodes, which is a representation of change. It's both commits and the merge. And I said master branch is usually a production or the deployed one. Development branch used for development and also for compiling feature for a release. And also feature branches, branch used for development for a particular issue. So let's just take a look at this for a second. So the master branches out to develop, and then you have some change that goes and develop, and then you have some branches that goes tackle a specific GitHub issue or a Jira issue. And then when that feature branch gets changes and then it's ready and it's tested, then it's merged to a develop branch. From the develop branch, technically you can do what's called a release branch and also go to master. But for our project, we're going to be doing a lot of feature branches, branching in from the main. The reason why we're just branching it from the main is because currently we don't have a production system in place. So our main branch is technically also the develop branch, but that may change in the long run. So next is, what is GitHub? So GitHub is a place to hold code repositories. And repositories is just a place where codes are stored with different versions. So as you can see here, this is a repository for the Octocat classifier, so a GitHub one, and you have 3 branches right there. Okay, so I guess let's move on to the interactive workshop bit. So can I just get you guys to go to this one, this website?
Hey friends, can you send the link, please?
Yep. The link. I'll be sending the chat. Yep, it's this one. So currently, as you can see, there's a couple of things there. You have the issues, and there's one current pull request. Let's take the pull request is basically the project setup for our interactive demo. If you take a look at the name of the branch, it's S2 project setup. S represents the first letter of the repository. 2 represents the issue number it's trying to address, which is the issue number 2, so the project repository, and then just a general branch name. If we take a look at our projects, which we have a Kanban board, we have these things. We have our to-do, and also our review in progress. So if you take a look at the one that's in review at the moment, it has been approved by our president, Michael, and it's ready to go. There's only really a couple of changes there. So you have your README file, you have the environment setup, the main py, which is basically it performs the operations for a given string. You have your automated testers, and basically it's like a stub. And if you don't know what a stub is, it's basically a temporary substitution for a code that is supposed to go there. So because it's already approved, let's merge it. So something that you might see me also do is that this particular branch has 5 commits, right? So typically when you do a merge, it's going to carry over those commits, all those 5 commits, into the main branch. But I'm going to do a little bit things differently. I'm going to do what's called a squash and merge. So if you think about it, for this particular branch, I did a couple of things. It can be divided into different commits. But for majority of the time in the main branch or the develop branch, we only really want the summary of the entire pull request, right? So that's where we just want this entire thing as one commit. So what squash and merge does is that it takes those 5 commits, it will combine it into one commit, and then merge that one commit into the main branch. So let me just do that. So this is the summary of it. Then confirm. And then I delete the branch. Okay. Now let's take a look at our main branch. So our main branch has 2 commits. It has the project setup, which has a reference number to that pull request. And you can see the summary of that thing. Because if you think about it, if we're looking at main branch, the only thing we really want is the high-level changes. What are the features that are being introduced in the main branch? We don't really care about the tiny error correction. We just want this entire summary of it. So that's one practice that we might see. So I guess let's start on the demo. Actually, before you assign yourself in an issue, let me just show you from the start how it all works. So I'll do a setup on the CI pipeline with PyTest. So I'll be picking this issue up. and I'll be progressing this in progress. So now I have a couple of things. I have to set up the CI pipeline with pipe tests, and this will enable future pull requests to run automated testing to make sure that changes that are introduced are properly tested. So that's the description of my task. And I have, for simplicity purposes, I have the answer here that I can just do. Okay? So let's do that right here. So currently, I have this thing. I have it on the main branch. I do git pull to pull the new changes that are onboarded because I just recently merged the changes. Next, I just activate. If you read the README file, I'll just activate the my environment. Ah. Yep. And from there, if I run Python src main.py, that's a little bit weird. Let me just switch to command prompt instead. So and that. So that will set my Python path to, yep. And then if I run Python src, this is weird. Okay. So basically, it will run this operation. Well, not really run this operation, but it will load this particular module that we can do. So let's start with the CI pipeline. So according to my instructions here, or basically the answers, I could just create a requirements.txt file over here. I save the change, and then I create a new file called pytest.ini. This will say that all my tests have a prefix there. And then I'll create a new folder called Github. And I'm pretty sure this should be called workflows. Similar to this one. So just to mention a couple of things. So Github Actions is part of continuous integrations. So the purpose of continuous integration is to be able to run a script and basically run a script whenever something happens. When you do a pull request, when you do a merge, it's very good for when you want to do automated testing. So whenever you have a pull request, you want the existing testing to happen. So let me just cross-check with this with another project, because it's important as a engineer to make sure that before doing things, you want to do a couple of research. And something that you could always do is look into a previous project on how it's implemented. Yep, so just to make sure, .github and then workflows. And then from there, I could create a new file called CI.yaml. And then, yeah. So what this basically does is that whenever there's a push on the branch of main, or whenever there's a pull request, or whenever there's a manual dispatch, this couple of scripts will run. So the steps are, it will do a checkout, it will do a install of the Python dependency, and it will run the test. So currently, that's my change. I just have to do a git checkout. I do a git checkout and create branch, and I want to name it S1. CI pipeline. So now I'm switched to the CI pipeline branch, and I'm pretty sure I could show you what it looks like in terms of a Git graph perspective. Hang on a sec. So this one is on C users Frinze workshop. Okay, this is Git Kraken. Not sure if you've used it, but in my opinion, I kind of really like it. So currently there's only one branch because I deleted the other branch. So I am currently switched on to this other branch. I could do a commit of the setup. Usually you want to do a commit on a particular group of change. But because this commit is quite really small, I could just do include everything. The other way to do this is actually do a git add. It will add every single thing there. This is just another method to do it. You could also use the VS Code terminal to do changes to certain things. So whatever method you choose, it's fine, just as long as you're comfortable with the tool that you're using. The tool that I'm most comfortable in is with Git Kraken. So I could do a git commit, and I put a message, set up CI pipeline with Github Actions and pytest config. Then I commit the change. So it's similar to git commit.m and then the message. And then I do a git push. I could also do a git push from here. So this one is going to ask me a couple of things because the branch does not exist in GitHub at the moment. Let me just do a git push properly here. Actually, okay, I think that did the thing. So let's just go back here. Refreshing. So as you can see, I have two branches and I have a recent branch here. I'm going to say compare and pull requests just to make sure I have all my changes done there. And then, yes, name the pull requests an appropriate name. I'm going to give it S1 to just give a reference number. And usually you're going to put a short description here and says, probably just includes configuration of setup for pytest, configuration for CI pipeline. And then probably something you might want to do is that you want to reference a couple of branches. You want to close number 1. So I'm going to put a couple of people as a reviewer here. Who's a good candidate? Does anyone want to volunteer?
Sure, I'll do it. Arithmetic overflow. Capital A, if that makes a difference.
This is quite weird. I can't assign people here. So let me just, I think it's some permission issues. So let me just enable the WAIS team and the food bank team to have access to that repository. Going to give you write access and also the food bank team. Okay, so let me just do that again. Copy over the things, refresh. I think I can, okay. And then just looking at a couple of things, I could set up a project for that one so that it appears at the project Kanban board. milestone, not really related. But there we go. If I create a pull request, because I have the word close as number 1, it will automatically do a linked issue, which means that if the particular issue has been merged, actually pull request has been merged, the issue will be closed. So a couple of things it's doing a couple of checks. Interesting. That failed. This is extremely weird. I remember running through this one and it just worked. Let me just do rerun. Yeah, if you're satisfied with the change, can you approve the pull request, Arya?
Where is that?
In the GitHub repository.
It's just okay. Do I have to leave a comment or?
Okay, to be able to do a review, you have to be able to assign yourself as a reviewer, and then you go to the files change. You could do a couple of things here. You could do a multi-line review. You could add a comment and all sorts of things, and then after putting comment, you could do approve. You could do a request change or just leave a general comment.
Okay, I see. Add your review.
Yep. Something weird is going on in the pipeline. Maybe I made a mistake on the configuration. I think this should work. No test ran.
It should be approved, I think.
Okay. Does anyone had this issue before? The no test run? I think somebody in the waste chat did. Just making sure. Test. Oh, I know why. Do you guys know why? It's because I missed the suffix. So my test over here has a prefix test, so I have to add it as a prefix. Yeah, live coding session. Then I'm just going to do a commit change for that one, minor change. And then push. So that will rerun the workflow here. And as you can see already, the reason why I'm doing a git squash is because of the fact that over time, as I create a pull request, I'm going to have this minor problems wherein it's not really meaningful in a higher level if I'm looking at, let's say, the main branch. So that's the reason why the only thing we really care about when it comes to main branch is the overall final change of that pull request that has been approved. It has more quality. So hopefully that worked. Otherwise, let's get going with the interactive demo because we don't have as much time. Yes. So I'm having a little problem there at the moment, which I'm going to have to fix later. But anyways, let's do a squash and merge, and then let's start this interactive demo. Okay. Assign yourself an issue, guys, and yeah, work on it. Create a branch, name the branch properly, and then create a change, then create a pull request. In the meantime, I'm gonna have to file a new bug. guys done? Is it going? Okay.
Wait, Frinze, how do I remove a pull request again?
You remove a pull request?
Yeah, I left pass in there
You
accidentally.
can't. So you left what thing accidentally?
There was a pass in there at the end.
This. Yeah, it doesn't pass at the moment. I had a problem with the
Yeah.
CI pipeline. Yeah. The reason for that one is because of some path issues that I have to set. So I know the fix for it. It's just that I have to do it. So while you're waiting for the fix, I'm just gonna try to implement this fix as well. So if you don't know at the moment what you're doing, you can also take a look at again as to what I'm doing. So I'm on branch 13 fix pipeline. So I'm gonna do a couple of things. I'm going to add a new step after checkout. Okay. As you can probably already see at the moment is that there are some inconsistency with the pull requests. Like for example, you don't have the reference number for the issue that you're trying to address. Like I know it's like S5, but the good thing about putting like closest number 5 is that it automatically links the issue. You could do a couple of things. You could edit the description or you could do link issue for that one. It's good practice to have like a small summary as in what you change in the first place. So good practice is that a function will always have at least like one sentence as a description. Yeah. I don't think I can fix the pipeline at this stage. Yeah, nasty bug. I should have done this in JavaScript instead of Python. Okay. Probably also a good idea is that you assign somebody in this chat a review. So I might assign myself as a reviewer for this guy over here that did a pretty good job. S8 multiplication test. Yeah, pretty good. Includes a couple of tests. Yeah, so this is probably a code review process. Yep. So the guy had imported from the main, then performed 2 operations. Actually, this doesn't seem quite right. So I leave a pull request. This is unused. So usually for unused function, it's picked up what's called a linter. So I think you've heard it in the first workshop wherein we have a linter that picks up a couple of formatting issues and things. So because there's a couple of things that needs to be changed, it's just better that I leave a comment with that one. So another thing that I can pick up is that there should be no parentheses with the return. And I could suggest a short change. This one could be this one. And then I add this review comment, and then I do request change. So this is what a typical code review looks like. So you're going to have somebody that raises a pull request, a couple of descriptions, and then a couple of comments about that review, and then yeah, then we wait that pull request to be changed, and let's take a look at other pull requests. S11 division. So I know currently my pipeline doesn't work, but the idea is to be able to assemble the code such that you have both and you have a couple of things. Okay, let's take a look at this. Yep, I think it looks quite about right. Let's take a look at it in a bit more things. Division. So yeah, this function will perform a division operation on num1 by num2. Okay, seems good to me. So I did a approve. Looks good. Okay. Then submit. And then because it has now been approved, I'm going to do a squash and merge. Then delete branch. Okay. Currently, this is my pull request. It doesn't actually work, so I could probably do a comment. This does not work. Please fix. Thank you. Even though it's a pull request on myself, it's still a good idea to do a high level point of view upon the review, not just the individual commits, and making sure like fundamentally it works, not just the overall like the reasoning that you had when you were creating code. Oh man, that's pretty good. Alright, let's take a look. Files change. It's outdated. Yep, looks about right. Usually we don't want a couple of random changes over here, but I'm going to allow it because you're going to see later on that we're going to have a merge conflict because of this. But let's just assume that my code review didn't pick this up, so I said, looks good. And I'll demonstrate how to do merge conflict resolution later on. So now, yep, this looks good. I do a confirm and squash merge. Yep, looks good. So as you can see as well, the number of issues are decreasing. So let's just take a quick look at our Kanban board. This is what it looks like at the moment. Yep. So can you just assign somebody in this room as a reviewer so that we can speed this process up? For the people that already have pull requests, can you make sure that you have your reference number at the beginning to make it easier to traverse? Okay, S4, addition test added. Test for addition added. Yep. I think that's a good summary of what it's about. Yep. Addition 0, 1, 1, 2. Yep. Looks good to me. Yep, and then I merge this. Yep, it has a linked issue, so it will close automatically. Yep, branch. Probably also kind of a good looking graph at the moment. This is what our graph looks like. So along the main branch, you're going to have a couple of changes that happen. And then a couple of different branches that are waiting for a review. Okay, S6, implemented subtraction, closes number 6. Then take a look at the file change. Yep, looks about right. Yeah, looks good. And submit. And then squash and merge. Okay, Okay, looks good. We only have a couple of things remaining. Um, Sky, can you put the reference number at your pull request? Oh, actually, you link the issue. Completed the multiplication function. Interesting. This issue has been closed by another one.
Oh wait, did I accidentally close it?
Oh, I think that was me. Wait, hold up.
Yep. So I'm not sure if there was a duplication of code. So let's just take a look at this for a second. Multiplication. Yep. So I think there's a couple of one. This one and this one. So done multiplication and also added multiplication. So this is actually where communication comes important, because as much as possible you don't want to duplicate work. You want to maybe do pair coding instead of having individual. So I'm just gonna assume that this change has already been done. So I think this is a duplicate. I'm just going to do this one, duplicate of done multiplication or something, or whoever did it. Usually we want the reference number just to make it easier for us. But yeah, I close up pull request. It's no longer needed because it has been done already. Alright, so this guy, let's take a look. S then added a few tests for division operation, and let's take a look at the change. Yep, 8433151. Yep, looks good. Then I submit for review, and then yep. This is pretty good. We have a conflict. So let's leave that on for a second. Let's take a look at some other bits where we don't have conflicts. Actually, we have conflicts here as well. Okay, this is the exciting part that comes in. Let's take a look at our Kanban board in a second. So, what's actually on review at the moment? So we have a couple of things: test for the divisions and also added logic for addition. So addition, and then we have the test for division. And I presume these issues have been addressed already. That's it. People in the room, has this issue been addressed already? Can you please close it? Okay. So let's get that out of the way. So let's take a look at S5, for example. There's a conflict. So what actually happens when there's a conflict? So there's actually multiple ways you could resolve a conflict. You could press this one and resolve the conflict. So what this is saying is that somebody created this change over here, and then somebody created this change over here. So this one is what's called an incoming change, incoming to the main, and then this one is something that's already been in the main, so like an outgoing change. So I could resolve it from there. I could also resolve it in GitHub. But my preferable method to actually resolve it is using Git Kraken. So let's take a look at that. For example, S5 addition is on the S5 branch. So let's go to Git Kraken. So this is what the S5 addition held. A couple of change. I'm going to do a merge on my main branch towards this branch, and I'm going to have this conflict. And this is what it looks like. So in my perspective as the reviewer, this is how I'm going to do it. I want this block of change from S5, but looks like I've approved a couple of change here that are not really quite right. This one pass. So I want to keep this couple of change, but not including this one. So in the final version, this is what the change will look like. You have a couple of asserts and a combination of the change of somebody that did it in an S5 edition, and also the one that's currently in the main branch. So I do a commit, and then I push. Yep, so now let's go back here again. So the high level point of view of this test, we have this. Looks like a couple of files has been changed. The operations.py, which is the utilities, the testing for test main, and also the test operation. So looking at this, I think looks quite right. So 12, yep, addition, yeah, looks good. Okay, can I have a volunteer for the person that's going to resolve the conflict for the next one, the division? Do you want to share your screen or something? Anybody?
I'll go if no one's volunteering. It's the division one you said?
Yep, the division one.
Hold on. I have tiling windows, so I'm not sure how share screen's gonna work. Can you see?
Yep. I'm actually not looking at the moment. But yeah, it looks good.
So I don't want the pass, but I want to
you
keep the
pass.
tests.
Yep.
And that should be it.
Do you understand how the conflict happened?
Yeah, so here they had pass at the end of this function, but the incoming branch added the asserts.
Yep.
So when the pull request happened, it didn't know which one to keep.
Yep.
So it just asked me to manually pick.
Yep. So just to reiterate with a couple of different words. So merge conflict happens when you have two different branches that committed a change for almost the same location at the code base. So almost at the same line. So that's where merge conflict comes in. Is completed division finish? It was never mentioned in any pull request. So I'm just gonna say close by. I'm going to type division here. Looks like somebody has already done division. So number 11. So I'm going to close this one. Yep. Looks good. Okay. Looks like we finished the demo. Let's just take a look at this is the Kanban board at the moment. So we've gone from a couple of to-dos to dones and the review process. And there's only really one in progress, which I'm not really sure about how to fix at the moment. But regardless, let's take a look at the final result of what happened. So as you might have seen, like using Git, we were able to collaborate on different tasks that people will do. So taking a look at the main branch. The main branch has an import on all the operations at the utilities folder. So this is what it looks like. You have your function for addition, function for subtraction. It looks good. We have the operations done. Somebody did a couple of troll on this one. So let's take a look. It was Sep that created this change, but it was approved. So this is where, a couple of probably somewhere in the software industry where bugs will happen, but how do we find bugs that will occur? So if you take a look at this one, you have reference that it was done at pull request number 14. This is what it looks like. And yeah, it was approved. But what can I do? It was approved by another engineer. So in usual cases, there's really no point to put a blame on somebody. It's more on the issue happened at this pull request. Can we fix it? So I'm just gonna put a new issue here for the demo, and that bugs, probable bugs at multiplication operation. I don't know who's going to pick it up, but somebody could pick it up if they want. Anyways, let's move on. This is the multiplication function, the division created by Mia. Let's go to the testings, the test operations. We have this one done by Nicholas, and then a couple of change done by Kurapika, and test subtraction. So as you can see, back from the beginning, we had cases wherein this was just all pass. But these are combinations of code that had been done by different software engineers by the different issues. There's another issue here that was not done. But anyways, yep. I think that's our demo finish. So does anybody have questions? No question, guys? So we all good? I guess that's the first workshop done for the day.